What's up, everybody? It's your boy Kendall G.
Live in Mental Connection, man. How y'all doing today, man? How y'all boys feeling today, man?
Man, I'm
Blessed and
blessed. I can
wonderful.
say that.
Yes, blessed and
Oh
highly
man,
favored as
for
always.
sure. Redirect
Ourselves back to our topic before, which was what are you doing today that makes your tomorrow better? I want to refocus on that. So no further introduction than my boy Raphael G.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Um, for me, I believe it's kind of like a nutshell of what we already been discussing. But what helps me kind of shape my tomorrow, impact my tomorrow, be definitely holding myself accountable. And what that means is, in life, we're gonna have obstacles, right? But what's important is not how we choose to I I don't want to say mourn, but sit in those obstacles, but more so how we react to those obstacles. It's easy for people to get bonded in what's going on and what's happening around them and the situations that they're facing on a daily basis because that's what the devil wants. The devil wants to see you fall. He wants to see it take you down. But at the end of the day, I feel like when you are in faith with God and when God leads you the right way, then not only do you hold yourself accountable, but then you start taking actions and you walk by faith, not by sight. Nothing that the devil has in plan for you or in store for you will flourish because you already know who is on your side. You know that the Lord just added another angel to your army, so you know what's to come. You know your blessings are on the way. You don't have to be blinded by his little tactics and distractions because you already know what you got in store for you. And that's what I've been kind of telling myself a lot lately based off of, what has happened is just how to grow, how to pick myself back up and keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, you man, um, like Ken Sean said earlier, life continues, bro. Life continues. So we
What happened to Raphael?
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you go. There you
see what I mean.
that, but
But that's just kind of my spill on it, man. Is just certain things that are just beyond my control. But I do if it's something that I control and that I can control, and if it's something that I feel like that I can um do better on, then I'm gonna hold myself accountable for that because I know that's gonna help me better my tomorrow. So holding myself accountable, whether it's in health, whether it's in faith, such as religion, whether it's in my daily job, whether it's in, whether it's emotionally, physically, working out, whatever it may be, bro. I'm just making sure that I'm holding myself accountable and making sure that I'm sticking to the promise that I made myself. Because at the end of the day, can't nobody beat you but you. At the end of the day, when it comes to faith or when it comes to your goals, the only time you fail is when you decide to quit. So if you don't decide to quit, then you haven't let failure sink in. You aren't a failure. Keep going, keep striving, and that breakthrough will come.
Sir. Sir. Yes, sir. Well, what I can tell you is just my opinion based on accountability is once you start holding yourself accountable and you start to receive criticism, constructive or not, um, it's not going to necessarily matter because you've already taken care of that to a standpoint, and that deals with everything that you just referenced, especially for me, I'm gonna say especially when it comes to faith and religion. I don't know how many people claim which or whatever faith or religion that they criticize others. You know what I'm saying? But you know, once we start holding ourselves accountable for making mistakes that we're going to do on a daily, um, again, once somebody else starts to call themselves quote unquote holding you accountable, it's not going to necessarily phase you as much as it would if you didn't hold yourself accountable. So, that's just my output on accountability, and I can definitely say that your tomorrow self is definitely going to thank you for that, doing for holding yourself accountable today. Your tomorrow self is going to definitely thank you for that, because I know myself would. So Yeah, man, I think that's really that's big right there, Ralph. You know, I think that's a big statement and a very bold statement to make when when stating what your tomorrow self would thank your today self for.
I want to ask
So
you a question. I want to interrupt you, but I want you to ask. I want to ask you a question, Kenshawn, because I feel like man, you just so full of wisdom. And, I think so much of you, bro, and highly of you. So I wanted to ask you, man, this in terms of people out there, bro, who are struggling with accountability and get things started and letting procrastination sink in and such. What would be your advice or encouragement or motivation for them, bro, to kind of get things started and stick with it as far as progress and growth?
that's Ralph, that's actually crazy that you asked that, because I think my short answer would definitely be accountability, though. You know, but like, truthfully,
Right.
that's really what I would tell you, or what I would tell anybody. You gotta take responsibility and accountability for your own actions. You know, just because that's what's going to ultimately push you to where you want to go, and no one else can become a roadblock. I don't know how many times that even myself, and I'll just use myself, before I developed the mindset of holding myself accountable, I don't know how many times someone else will call themselves doing that, and it becomes discouraging. I'm not the type to take what they call tough love. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not me. I don't dwell well in tough love. You know, my emotion seems to take over a lot at times, depending the situation. But I would definitely say, if someone can hold themselves accountable for their own actions, if they can hold it don't even have to be negative. You holding yourself accountable doesn't have to be in a negative form. You can hold yourself accountable for progress. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's true.
just even patting yourself on the back, and I'm gonna use that just because I think it will it would disable you from getting what we call a big head. Like, if you made an achievement, or you achieved a goal, right? And you hold yourself accountable for that goal that you have achieved, and you pat yourself on the back. Once you start getting those pats on the back, I think it will stop you from getting a big head, and then people become conceited at a time. Like, they just feel like they can now do no wrong. But that's just my outtake on it.
You- I thank you for that too, Sean, because you said something that really hit me, bro, and it really made me think. And it's like, you said pat yourself on the back, and that really stood out to me. And the reason why that stood out to me is because a lot of people look at holding yourself accountable as being negative,
Yeah.
as being holding yourself in terms of, I didn't get what I need to get done, so now I got to hold myself accountable. Like, I should have done better. I should have realized what I did wrong. But also, like you said, recognize when you do good. Recognize
Yeah.
when you are doing the right things. Recognize when you are making it on time to that meeting, or saving that money, or jumping on, like you said, here on Zoom with your boys to get y'all to the next level. Recognize those moments, because with those moments comes growth. With
Yeah,
those
most
moments,
definitely.
progress.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like, I'll sit here and reflect sometimes on, a lot of my references are gonna always come from just self experiences that ultimately that I've gained from my place of business, right? So I sit and I think, like, I don't know how many times I sat in a manager's meeting, and my store manager may be like, this assignment, or this aisle, this end cap, this bay, this drive this drive out, or whatever the case may be, it looks really good. Who did it? And if it was me, I'm gonna raise my hand, and I'm like, I'm gonna take accountability for that. That was all me.
That's
Meanwhile,
right.
it's nothing negative. He's giving me praise, but I can use the sense of accountability in a positive form. Like we just both just said, and I hate to echo myself, but for those who didn't hear me in the back, accountability does not always have to be in a form of a negative turn. You know, like take accountability for the things you've done well, the things that you're doing well, the things that you feel proud about. You know, you take accountability in that, you know. So yeah, like I said, to answer your question, like I said, I thought it was a short answer, but you know, to what I would tell someone that's starting off or to keep them motivated and things like that, you hold yourself accountable in all phases. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful. You hold yourself accountable in all of those phases before someone else can. And that way you won't get discouraged. And that way I feel like you won't get overjoyed, you know, because the ones that we should seek to make proud more than anybody is ourselves, you know.
That's right.
You know, so if you make yourself proud and you pat yourself on the back, you know, I think that should be good enough. Like that should make you more happier or the happiest before anybody else pat you on the back. Not unless you're looking for not unless you're looking for someone's approval, you know, which again, you really should be looking for your own. And these are all just, you know, personal feelings or whatnot. But that's just how that's how I feel about it. You know, make yourself proud. Making yourself proud should be your number one achievement. Once you do that, you know, like I said, it should block out you getting that big head, you know, because again, like shit, I've already gave myself a pat on the back. I've already congratulated myself. So you telling me this or you congratulating me is just, you know, is that it feels good. I thank you. I thank you for the recognition and all of that good stuff. But you're not gonna make me feel more happier than I make myself feel.
That's the truth. That's
So
the
yeah,
truth.
that's what I would tell someone.
I appreciate that because you're right. We definitely have to encourage ourselves. But sometimes we can only be sometimes it's just us. It's just us versus everybody else.
Yeah, man. Right. So
to stay up.
if I had to give a blunt example, right? This is what I would use, right? You think about a drug addict who is now on their road to recovery, right? They call themselves, not even, I hate to say they call themselves, but they take the necessary steps. Like, let's say they go to a rehabilitation or they go to a detox, right? The number one thing that they're going to always ask them in this road to recovery is, who are you doing this for? Are you doing this for yourself or are you doing this for someone else? And I promise you, if you're doing it for someone else before you're doing it for yourself, you will not succeed. You will not succeed because you have to put yourself first. You cannot do it for your mama, your daddy, your children, your loved one, anybody. You have to do it for yourself because this is ultimately your path, your journey. You know, you have to love yourself more than anybody else will ever love you. So therefore you have to make that recovery for yourself. And again, that's taking accountability. You know what I'm saying?
And as Ken Shine mentioned, guys, this also works in the financial world too.
Oh, hell
because
yeah.
before you can help somebody else financially, you got to be able to help yourself.
You gotta be able
There's
to help
nothing wrong with
yourself.
helping somebody else, but
Yeah,
don't
man.
pull yourself down in the progress of it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That helps. That you could take that in the form of religion. How am I going to tell you to believe if I don't?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? How am I going to tell you to walk 100% with God, but I'm only walking 90%, or I'm walking 99%? Like, cause 99% just ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know how the sayings go, man. You can't conversate with God while holding hands with the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that shit just doesn't work that way. You know, so it takes and you name these. You know what I'm saying? You name these in your introduction of your tomorrow thinking your today. You know what I'm saying? So it works in every aspect of life, just in general.
Right. That's right. Did you have any additional thoughts or conclusions, Dennis?
Man, I'm getting attacked, but I will say, y'all, just never give up, keep going. That's one thing you can always apply to, you know, becoming better for the next day, for your next task. Um, Yeah.
Consistency. That's
Yeah,
so true.
consistency. Yeah,
Yeah.
just don't let nothing, don't let no obstacle, trip you up. If you do, just keep pushing. It's gonna get better. There's always a light on the other side, man.
That's right.
Consistency might be at the forefront of all of this, of all of our tomorrows thanking ourselves for today. I think consistency might be the number one thing. And to say that you was the last one to speak that, Dennis, I think it is actually the first thing that should be at the forefront of everything, because you have to be consistent in all of it.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent in all of this, which is hard. You know what I'm saying? That shit, consistency is hard, man. It's draining, it's tiring. It's
Tell me about it. I almost not made it on today because of procrastination.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But I thought about consistency.
Truth. Yeah, bro. That's truth, man. So again, man, I think consistency, because you have to be consistent in order to succeed. You're not gonna half-ass anything and reach your max potential of success. You know what I'm saying? Like my aunt used to tell me, you're gonna get out whatever you put in. So if I'm gonna halfway put something in, I'm gonna get a halfway result. Yep. See, Leo agree.
Yeah, you agree.
Leo agree. Yes, boy.
Man,
I'm coming.
That's strong.
I'm coming. I see. All right, I'm coming.
The kids are calling.
Yeah,
they want attention.
But again, man, I think I think consistency is number one, bro. I think consistency is number one. So Dennis, I thank you for that, bro. I humbly thank you for that, because it's as important as consistency is. That didn't even cross my mind as my tomorrow self thinking my today self. You know what I'm saying? So now that it is implanted in my head, I know to do my best to try to put that at the forefront of just my daily. Like, damn, you had a good day yesterday. Whatever you did yesterday, not maybe in the exact way, but let's try to do that. Let's try to do that again today, and then let's try to do that tomorrow. Let's try to develop some type of consistency so that we continue on a path to success. So damn, Dennis, man, you spoke the less, you spoke the least, but probably said the most in the very few words that you did speak, man. So I thank you for that, bro.
Yep, no problem, man. You already know. I'm trying to then get back into it, man. Everything been getting in the way, but like I said, that was just something that I've been dealing with, that I can kind of say, just keep going. It's always going to be better, as long as you got people in your corner like I got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
That can hold it up while people are not there.
But we all know that. We all know that this is just the beginning, because y'all, the worst we've already done been through.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We just got to stay consistent on these parts, because we've done had the struggle of going without saying, going for a period of time without being able to connect like we would have liked to. So the fact that we even here and we taking it like we should and holding ourselves accountable and allowing the other guys in the room here to also hold us accountable is already progress. So we all can pat ourselves on the back on that, for sure. For sure.
Most definitely.
We're already making progress.
Most definitely.
But I'm gonna let one of y'all fellas close us out.
Well, I'll do my best. But luckily for me, we do have a great editor. So but for tuning in once again to our Mental Connections. Please, by all means, subscribe, comment, and like. When leaving comments, please, by all means, be truthful with us. If there's anything y'all would like for us to touch on, let us know. I do thank everyone that's involved. Please continue to tune in. We're going to do our best to be consistent with this. And God bless. Sean out, baby.
Peace. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.